Just a quick tutorial to help you with the tree ring assignment over the weekend. So first of all, if you want to use the cross-match software at home, I'm sorry I didn't know this before, I would have told you guys, you have to install Java first. So just Google Java, hit the top link, hit download, agree. I've already downloaded it so I won't do it, but follow the steps, install it, and then you'll be able to run the cross-match software. The other thing I wanted to go through was, because I've had quite a lot of people struggling with this, which is, it's hard to follow instructions from a document using Excel, especially if you're not very, if you're not familiar with the software and handling data, etc. So, question 3 about constructing the site chronology for Preston Tower. So it's combining all of the samples together in the order that you've matched them to create an average sample for the whole site, or master. And then once we've done that, we can match that to a calendar dated series, and we can know the actual real time dates of when the sample trees were cut down, etc. Firstly, you want to open up prestondata.excel. Go on there. Alright, so the header information is regarding sapwood and the rings, and whether it's a complete rings, etc., which you'll be using later on for your write-up and analysis. So don't worry about these top 9 lines at the moment. Go ahead and make a new sheet. So if you haven't used Excel much before, it does this amazing thing where you can just go 1, 2, 3, highlight the numbers, hold it on the corner so you get this little black cross there, and drag down to what it says 130, and ta-da! You're going to want to have the drawn up diagram of your cross matches next to you while you're doing this. So starting with FST005, we're going to copy across the data from sheet 1 onto sheet 2 in their correct positions. So head along till you see number 5, because we know that's our oldest sample starting at year 1. Copy that, paste it into column B on your second sheet. Our first data point for sample 5 is aligned with year 1. Then go back to your cross matches and look for the next sample that you've got. So in this case it's FST001, and we know that starts on year 30. Back to Excel, back to sheet 1, sample 1, copy that over, head back to sheet 2, and scroll down till you see 30, so that's year 30, hit paste, and now these data sets are aligned as we add them in cross-match. And so you're going to continue to do that for all the samples that you've managed to cross-match. So copy number 6, check what year it started at, 21, cool. Back to sheet 2, find year 21, there we go. Cool. So I'm just going to do these 3 as an example, but of course you'd keep doing that until you've got all your ones laid out in that same method. Once you've done that, we're going to need to average them to create our site master. Okay, so we're using this formula here. See if I can just copy and paste that. And okay, so we'll come to the cell starting at year 1. There we go. The range for this formula will be across all your samples. In my case it's only 3, but remember you'll have more. hit enter, and if you just drag that all the way to the bottom, I've got no data down here because I haven't filled them all out yet. This is just averaging the data for each year. So these numbers are tree ring, a tree ring index, and so basically the formula is just averaging all your samples for each year. Cool. So once you've done that, you want to copy all your averages to a new workbook using a special paste. Let's come down, grab all those, hit copy, new workbook. Great. Right click, paste special, and just hit values, and we're good. Okay, so insert a new row below the title line and type in the start date for the chronology, which is 1, as the main chronology is not yet calendar dated. So it took me a little while to figure out what that meant, but that's just to do with how cross-match reads the data. So if you just drag that down so your averages start on the third line. So row 1 is essentially your title. I'm just going to call it Preston, and 2 is the start year indication. We don't know where it starts yet, so we're just going to start it at 1. Cool. We want to save it as a CSV file. So go ahead and do that. So let's call it Preston mean. And so come down to file format. It should look fairly similar on a PC. You're going to want to use comma separated values. Then hit save. Cool. So now we've got our master chronology for Preston, but we haven't calendar dated it yet. So I'm going to just talk you through 4, and then I'll probably leave it there. Feel free to get in touch if you get stuck with the next part. But I thought I'd draw special attention to this because the name used in the instructions is actually completely different to what you've been given, and it's understandably confusing a lot of people. So tree ring data format 2016B is actually called tree ring read and write. So go ahead and open up tree ring read and write. Alright, okay. Where are we? So for the input, it's the CSV file we just made. And we want columns for our input and rows for our output. Columns input, rows output. Cool. Select file, and it's prestonmeans.csv. Cool. And we can see there's our title, our start date 1, and then our means. And we're going to then click run. Just go up and check it. It should look like that. So it's essentially just transposed our data from being in a column to being in a row, which, I mean, you can do in Excel as well, but this works the same. And the file will be called tree ring read and write _out.csv, which you should rename. We have a few regional masters. So these are calendar dated chronologies from the same region. And what we're going to do now is use cross-match to find out where our Preston master fits on these calendar dated chronologies, using the exact same method we did to figure out how our samples fitted together at the start of the assignment. So in cross-match, you want to load the regional master as the reference. regional masters. And for the comparison, you want to load the file we just made in tree ring read and write. You will now need to search for the position of best fit. Use the auto search as described above to find the position of best fit, indicated by cross-dating statistics and visual comparison. So that's exactly what we did when we were cross-matching our samples in the beginning. You can use the advanced auto search to find out where our Freston master fits against the calendar dated regional master, and that tells you everything you need to know there. And so just use that information as you did when you were cross-matching the samples. It will suggest an offset to you, and that offset number, say hypothetically it was 1357, that means that your Freston master starts at calendar year 1357. So that's your first year, that's where sample 5 starts. Once you've identified that date span, you can amend the CSV file in Excel. So just open our tree ring read and write file, and as I said, I'm just doing this hypothetically. If it told us our calendar year was 1357, hit that, save it, and then reload it into crossmatch. Once you have calendar dated your site chronology, and we know what year we start in, then you can work out the start and end dates for each of your samples. Once you have calendar dated your site chronology, you can then work out the start and end dates for each of your samples. So just work through those, because now we know where they begin and we know how long they are, so you can work out the actual calendar years for these samples. And then you're going to have to do some interpretation, for which I recommend reading this reference here and using this table as a guide. So hopefully that's cleared a few things up. Feel free to get in touch via email if you're still confused. And as always, don't forget to hit subscribe and smash that like button.